Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hi, I am Ayaz Memon. The worst fears of cricket fans all over the world are coming true. The WTC final, the World Test Championship final, as first day was washed out, and so was the fourth day, completely washed out. There was no play at all possible on Monday, which means that only 2 more days remain, and even one innings of both teams has not been completed. India bowled out for 217, New Zealand 101 for 2, still 116 runs behind. And now, what are the prospects of this match reaching some kind of a conclusion? It is getting obviously very dim. 2 more days remain. Theoretically, 196 overs are still possible, 90 overs per day for 2 days, plus you add on extra time and you get 16 overs more. 196 overs still possible. In these conditions where there's so much help for the bowlers, is the result possible? Perhaps, which means a lot of things have to happen. New Zealand either have to build up a massive score and then try and force an innings win over India, or India have to bowl out New Zealand in one session, run up a decent enough score, declare, or perhaps get bowled out, and then New Zealand bat in the fourth innings, and then, either they win or lose. But too many ifs and buts, there are too many imponderables, and of course one is assuming that there will be no rain at all over the next 2 days, which is not what the Met Office is saying. The Met Office is saying that the weather will be far better than what we've seen on the first day and the fourth day, but there might be, or there are likely to be, interruptions because of rain. So it just makes it that much more difficult for any result to emerge from this match, and therefore lots of people have voiced their concern as to whether this massive match, it's a big game, could have been managed better. One can't just pinpoint the fact that, why is the match being played in England? I have had a rant about this in my first video, that it could have been better managed even in England by deferment, by deferring the match, looking at what the Met Office is saying by a few days, and trying to ensure that you get more rain-free days than rain-filled days. Of course, there is also a point of view, which is a fairly extreme point of view, given by Kevin Pietersen, former England captain, that a one-off match should never be held in England in the English summer, because there's always the threat of rain. He says, why not have it in the UAE or somewhere else where the weather is fine and you get all days play. These are all now thoughts and considerations that will have to be factored in when the next cycle of the WTC begins. I would imagine that the final will shift from England in the next cycle and go to India, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, wherever. It all becomes possible if it is between the period, say, October to March, April, because this is the time when cricket is played in India. Pakistan, of course, very little international cricket is played there, but that is the season. Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, this is the cricket summer in these countries. So, food for thought there for the ICC, but of course, I don't want to kind of be preemptive and say this match is nothing's going to happen, because, as I mentioned earlier, 196 overs, and cricket is a funny game, as they say. But let's shift focus, since there was no action at all, to bowling attacks. I put out a tweet a couple of days back asking whether, which team had the best fast bowling combination, whether it was India, whether it was New Zealand, whether it was Australia, or whether it was England. And all these 4 countries, of course, we know, have got fantastic fast bowling attacks. Now, we've seen what New Zealand have done. One must include now even South Africa, because they seem to have found in Rabada and Ngidi and Norgay, who's joined. It's a fairly formidable threesome. They just kind of walloped West Indies in the West Indies, though Keshav Maharaj, the spinner, claimed a hat-trick in the second match, and the South Africans won. But the South African pace attack is very good. So which is the most formidable? Going by social media, and everybody plumped for, because the audience is, or my Twitter audience is so heavily loaded in India, the Indian attack was seen as the best. And it could well be, except that in this match I thought that none of the bowlers, Ishant, Shami, and Bumrah got the ball to swing as much as the New Zealand bowlers did. They were perhaps pitching it a little too short. Shami was the best of the lot. He got the ball to do a bit, found the edge a couple of times, but not enough swing. So that's something that the Indian bowling coach, chief coach Ravi Shastri and others associated with the combination of the team will have to consider, because when you have a bowling attack without a fast bowling attack without a good swing bowler, then it lacks something. Of course, if you ask me which is the best overall attack in the world, bowling attack, I would say it's India, because apart from Bumrah, Ishant, Shami, of course, Siraj in reserve, we've got two high-class or world-class spinners in Ravi Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, and that really makes for an all conditions attack. I think the Indian attack is perhaps the best placed to win matches anywhere in the world now. At home, certainly, in Australia, even in England. Of course, this match we don't know as yet what is going to happen, but potentially this is a very rounded and a very classy attack. Even I did mention about not bowling the right length or not bowling foolish in this match, but they would have corrected, I think, after the first, after they bowled those 49 overs and didn't get many rewards against New Zealand, that correction would have come in. Remember, India went into this match without any competitive practice. New Zealand came on the back of two test matches against England, so they were able to fine-tune, which India were not. But no excuses. I think the New Zealand bowlers excelled. India's bowlers did reasonably well, didn't excel, but they could have, or they can even now. Talking of bowling attacks, of course, what is quite intriguing at the same time is amazing, that I mentioned about the bowling attacks of India, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, England. What about the pace attack of Pakistan? Traditionally, this was there was an assembly line of fast bowlers coming out from the country, right from the times of Fazal Mahmood till very recently. That seems to be drying up. I mean, the bowlers they've had is Fazal Mahmood, Mahmood Hassan, Imran Khan, Sarfraz Nawaz, Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunus, Shoaib Akhtar. I mean, this was, the most potent fast bowlers and swing bowlers used to come from Pakistan. What's happening there? Shaheen Shah Afridi, a lot of promise he's shown. He's a young man. He's shown a lot of promise. But guys like Wahab Riaz, Muhammad Amir, for one reason or the other, unable to fulfill or actualize their potential. And this, in my opinion, is a tad ironical when you consider that the man helming the country today, Prime Minister Imran Khan, has been arguably, perhaps unarguably, their greatest fast bowler and their greatest cricketer.